NJCU has won the toss. They have elected to receive. I'm good. Yep, I'm good. Thank you for winning the toss. All right, team lineup cards. We do Cazenovia first. 5-8, 14-4, 16-D. Two, 1, 6, 8, 5, 18, 7, 1. I need a second here for the lineups. 7, 1, 3, 2, 2, 6, 5, 3, 6, 8. 5, 4, 15, 9, 12, 7, 9, 5.
Well, good morning and welcome to the North Myrtle Beach Sports Complex in Little River, South Carolina for Game 1 of the NJCU 2016 Spring Trip here on NJCUGothicKnights.com. NJCU will open its 2016 season today. Here in the Fastpitch Dreams Sports Classic, their opponent in Game 1 will be the Cazenovia College Wildcats. Getting underway here just in a moment as the teams, both on a neutral field, had to flip for who would be the home team. And brand new Gothic Knight head coach Veronica Grant called heads. It was heads. The Gothic Knights will be the home team. And to get us going this year, the starting pitcher today for NJCU is Jayla Vega. She's on the mound wearing number 7. And we'll give you the lineup for both teams here in a moment. The first pitch to Becky Nicoletta as we get set to begin the 2016 campaign as a called strike. That's grounded foul. And the 0-2 pitch by Vega to Nicoletta. That's again slapped foul. Pitcher for NJCU today in our first game is Jayla Lee Vega. She's a 4'10" senior from Hoboken, New Jersey, a business management major and a transfer from Fisher College, as the Gothic Knights have totally revamped its pitching staff. That's a ground ball to third. An easy play for number 9, Conte. And Gabrielle Conte completes the throw over to Brittany Pollicus at first for the 5-3 putout. Vega today will throw to Jazz Randall, the 3-sport athlete for the Gothic Knights. Behind the plate at first base is Brittany Pollicus. Brianna Rosario is playing second. The shortstop is Hannah Gavin, highly touted freshman. And at third is freshman Gabriella Conte, who will likely see some time behind the plate during this trip. And the outfielders from left to right, Juliana Squillo in left, Talia Garcia in center, and Melissa Mendoza in right. The batter is Alex Kinnell, who's the second baseman for these Cazenovia Wildcats. That's ball 3. We don't have an active scoreboard here, so we're going to have to focus on the calls from the umpire. And it should be 3 balls and no strikes to the second batter of the game. And a 3-ball, no strike count. Polkus in at first. And the pitch is high. So second batter of the game draws a walk. And that will bring up the designated player shoot. Here's the lineup for Cazenovia today. Batting first, Rebecca Nicoletta. And she grounded out 5-3. Alex Taylor swinging a prior to their appearance at the plate. The 1-1, that's hit in the air towards right center, and it's going to roll all the way to the wall. Rounding second, and on the way to third, and now on the way home is Kendall. She's going to score. The throw to third is not in time. It is a triple for shoot, and Cazenovia has jumped on top 1-0. So a 3-run triple by Shoot gives the Wildcats an early 1-0 lead, and that will bring up the first baseman, Taylor Spranger. Left-handed hitter, 5'9" junior from Cazenovia, New York. Cazenovia was a 10-20 team last year. The Gothic Knights were 5-33 in back-to-back seasons, but a completely new roster this year. A lot of talent has joined the team. That's ball 1. They have 5 pitchers on the staff this year. That is the most the Gothic Knights have ever had in the 36-year history of the program. Both top 2 starters are brand new. That's low. Jazz Randall behind the plate, co-captain of the Gothic Knight basketball team. Bounces in front of her, doesn't know where it is. It's going to go to the cage. But Vega covered home plate nicely, and there was no chance there for Shoot to attempt to advance. So 3 balls and no strikes, with 1 out here in the top of the first inning in the first game of the 2016 season. Vega deals, and it's in the dirt for ball 4. So her second walk of the inning. Runners are on the corners. And that will bring up the right fielder, number 21, Alyssa Connor. He's a senior out of Camden, New York. It is a cool day down here in the Myrtle Beach area. Not what you would expect. It's not sunny. It's not warm. It's overcast and about 50 degrees, maybe slightly warmer at game time. It's not going to go much higher than 54. The throw to second base. The stolen base is going to be granted. And Hannah Gavin went over to try to cover second base on that throw. And it looked like there was a collision between Gavin and the base runner Spanger, and she is down and she is shaken up. Looked like she took a glove to the face. So officially it's a stolen base for Spranger. Shoot scores on what will be a throwing error. And it's 2-0 in favor of the Wildcats. So there will be a pinch runner at second base. And it will be number 13, Samantha McCarthy. So a 2-0 lead for Cazenovia, members of the Northeastern Athletic Conference. Cazenovia located in Cazenovia, New York, which is a little bit southeast of Syracuse. Temperature up there right now, 31 degrees. So while it's cool and overcast here outside of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, obviously the better of the weather is down here in South Carolina. We got the pinch runner at second base. After Springer was shaken up, it was McCarthy, the new pinch runner. And that will bring up the right fielder, Connor. She was at the plate when the throw to second went into center field on the throwing error. And after she took an initial ball, this one is fouled off on the bunt attempt, on the potential sacrifice. And the count, I believe, is 1-1. We're going to wait for the official call here from the home plate umpire today, Kenny Castleman. Field umpire is Al Lewis. So 1-1 is the count. Vega trying to get out of the top of the first here with just the 2 runs against. The pitch fouled right back towards me. It'll be a 1-2 count. Vega deals. It's in the dirt. Goes all the way to the cage. Actually, they're saying that Connor was hit by the pitch. And that is indeed the call, and she'll go down to first. And there'll be runners on first and second with just 1 away. So Connor's hit by the pitch, and it'll be Matakovic, the catcher, coming to the plate. He's a freshman, 5'9", out of Collegeville, Pennsylvania. That is high. McCarthy dances off second base, but she's not going to go anywhere on that. That was the 20th pitch of the first inning for Vega. Getting the ball in the circle to start the season. That's popped in the air towards first. Paulakis is there, makes the catch for the second out. So to pop out gets the guy thing that's a little closer getting out of the inning. It'll bring up the shortstop, Scarcella, the number 7 batter in the lineup. She's a senior out of Massapequa, New York, 5'1". That is chopped foul right towards the third base coaching box where Chris Camino, the head coach for Cazenovia, fields it cleanly. No ball, 1 deal. That's foul. The adjacent fields. We're at the North Myrtle Beach Sports Complex here in Little River, South Carolina. There are 6 fields all in one big giant circle encompassing this section of the complex. In the air towards right field. Here comes Mendoza. She's unable to make the catch. Rounding third and scoring is McCarthy. That's a play Mendoza has to make. Unable to make the catch. So an E9 on the drop. Connor goes all the way to third. There's no RBI on the play. And runners on the corners. For today's game on NJCUGothicKnights.com. That's on the inside corner to the right-hander hitting Clark. And anytime you hear a pause in the action, we are likely also doing the stats at the same time as the broadcast. 1 ball, 1 strike in the dirt. Coming home is Connor on the wild pitch. And Cazenovia has claimed a 4-0 lead. Scarcella goes to second on the pitch in the dirt. So 2 balls, 1 strike. It is 4-0 here in the first. That's high. So 3-1. Only 3 of the 4 runs, or I'm sorry, only 1 of the 4 runs, I meant to say, is earned, the first. Everything else since then is unearned. 2 errors in the inning by NJCU. That's popped in the air towards left field. Here comes Juliana Squillo. Squillo makes the catch at the lip of the infield grass, and the Gothic Knights do get out of the inning. But in the first for Cazenovia, 4 runs on just 1 hit. There were 2 errors and 1 left on base. The Gothic Knights will have some work to do here in the bottom of the first. Now with the injury to Cazenovia, probably not going to see Springer stay in the game. And the new first baseman is number 17, Samantha Washburn. 17, the new first baseman. So she'll come in for McCarthy in the 4 spot. Now let's take a look at the lineup here for NJCU as they will bat here in the bottom of the first. Leading off will be the pitcher, Jayla Lee Vega. Catching and batting second is Jazz Randall. The shortstop, one of the highly touted additions to this freshman class, Hannah Gavin. She bats third. And Brittany Polikis, who was one of the starters on the mound last year, now going to see more of a predominant role in the field. She is the cleanup hitter and at first base. Talia Garcia, one of just 2 seniors on this year's team. She's the center fielder. She played all 38 games last year, started each of them, and she bats 5th. Brianna Rosario, who played third base for much of last year, will start today's game at second. She bats 6th. Melissa Mendoza, the right fielder, hits 7th. With Julie Squillo in left field, batting 8th, and Gabriella Conte, the third baseman, in the 9 spot. Around the horn for Cazenovia, pitching is Kelsey Morgan. She is a 5'3" sophomore right-hander out of Central Square, New York. She's also the flex player today. She throws to Laura Matacote behind the plate. The new first baseman now will be Samantha Washburn. At second is Kinnell. Mark is a called strike. In the outfield for Cazenovia, the left fielder is Jessica Kelly. Pops that. So we'll call that a line out to short. One away, and that will bring up the Gothic Knight catcher in Game 1, Jazz Randall, the junior out of Piscataway, New Jersey, via West Orange High School. Starting point guard for the women's basketball team. She also runs cross country. Apologize about the camera there. Apparently it's got a mind of its own and pointed towards the sky, so we apologize about that. And the first pitch to Randall is outside. That's also just off the plate, so 2-0. That is outside. First pitch was called a strike, so it's now 2-1 to Randall. That is inside to Randall, so it's 3-1. Pitch to Randall, that is fouled back towards us, and the count goes full. We say hello to former Gothic Knight head coach Jackie Timko, who was the head coach of the Gothic Knights last year and left only to take the head coaching job at Division I Rider University. We congratulate her, of course, on that fabulous position. And she's watching her former players now as they open the season. So hello, Coach Timko. 3 balls, 2 strikes, a pitch to Randall, swing and a miss at the high fastball. And there's now 2 away here. The first player we're going to get a chance to look at for the first. As we see Coach Veronica Grant. There is Hannah Gavin. She's a business management, brand new, high off the glove. Those are not aware, the NJCU business off the main campus to a beautiful new business school right on the waterfront on the Hudson River near Exchange Place. That's high. She's aiming towards me. And it's 2-0. And that's going to be a great selling point, a great draw, as the academic side of NJCU is truly taking off. The business school is going to be a selling point for those right in the Gavin cast at 9 foot. That is high and outside. It's 3-1. So we'll see if it warms up just a little bit. It's supposed to be warm down here the rest of the week. In the 60s tomorrow, and then we hit the 70s for the final 4 games of the trip. That is high. Ball 4. So Gavin on 2 outs takes a 5-pitch walk, and that will bring up junior Brittany Polikis, the 5'11" junior out of Fords, New Jersey, at JFK Memorial High School, a health sciences major, right-handed hitter. The cleanup hitter trying to get the Gothic Knights a little bit closer after they fell behind 4-0 in the top of the first. 2 errors, just 1 hit. First pitch was a ball. That is on the inside corner, so it's even at 1-1. That is high. Gavin with a healthy leadoff of first. That is off the plate. Good eye by Polikis. So if Paulkus can get on, it will be Talia Garcia coming up. The 3-1 was a little low, but called a strike, so the count is full at 3-2. 2 outs, bottom of the first inning. The 3-2, that's in the air towards shallow right center. It actually died before it got there. The catch was made by the second baseman, Kinnell, and the Wildcats get out of it here in the bottom of the first. So for the Gothic Knights, in inning number 1, no runs, no hits, there's 1 left on. We played 1. It's 4-0 Cazenovia. Getting ready for the second inning here, and it will be the number 9 hitter, the left fielder Jessica Keller. She's a 5'6" freshman out of East Northport, New York. Due up. It will be number 9, 1 and 2 hitters for Cazenovia. Gothic Knights are staying about 10 minutes away from this complex, right on the beach. Tough life, we know. However, not beach weather at all. It's really chilly down here this morning. Only 1 hit for Cazenovia in that first inning, and a first pitch to Keller is high. Chopped foul off home plate, 1-1. Cazenovia is one of 2 members of the NEAC, the Northeastern Athletic Conference, that the Gothic Knights will play in this trip. They will actually close the trip against the NEAC school. That's St. Elizabeth. Game 2 today, the Knights will take on Medaille College out of the Allegheny Mountain Collegiate Conference, the AMCC. That's high, it's 2-1. And NJCU will actually play 4 AMCC affiliated schools on this trip here in South Carolina. The 2-1 pitch is high. And the AMCC is actually the conference that the women's bowling team competes in now. NJCU, an affiliate member of the AMCC in bowling. The 3-1 offering, grounded towards short. Cutting it off is the third baseman, Conte. An easy throw to first base. Gabrielle Conte was able to step in front of that play there as Gavin was deeper in the hole. Conte fielding her position well at third. So that will bring up the top of the order, and it'll be the center fielder Rebecca Nicoletta, a junior left-handed hitter out of Duanesburg, New York. She grounded out 5-3 in her first plate appearance. One away with Jayla Lee Vega on the mound for NJCU. Thrown to Jazz Randall. Bunt is shown. Conte to Rosario covering the bag. And it looked like the throw pulled her off the bag there at first base. Another bunt attempt. The sacrifice this time is successful. And Kinnell's out 1-4. So we'll put that down as a 1-4 sack bunt. 2 away as Kinnell, who walked in the first inning, the sacrifice here. And that will bring up the designated player shoot, the number 3 hitter with 2 away, and Nicoletta at second. That's popped in the air, foul off to our right, and off of the roof of the dugout on the field to our right, and actually landed on the other field. The 0-1, that's a called strike. Good pitch by Vega on the inside corner. So no balls and 2 strikes. That's low. Good block by Randall to third. Not in time, so stealing third is Nicoletta on the ball in the dirt. We did officially rule that bunt by Nicoletta as an infield single, as Conte did field it well, but it was a long way to go for Rosario from second base to first base to try to cover that throw. So we called it an infield single and gave Nicoletta the benefit of the doubt. That is low and inside, so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Four nothing Cazenovia. Ground ball through the left side of the infield. That is a base hit. And Cazenovia on the single by Shoot has taken a 5-0 lead. And I'll bring up for the first time the new first baseman, Samantha Washburn, who was injured, but she took a glove to the face on a stolen base try. That was just the 3rd hit of the game for Cazenovia. That's inside. The runner, Shoot, was caught halfway between first and second. She has to retreat. One and 0. Pitch. That's a nice pitch on the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. You're watching live NJCU softball action here in Little River, South Carolina, the North Myrtle Beach Sports Complex. That's popped in the air. Foul. Randall comes underneath, just unable to make the play. So 1-2 the pitch. Popped foul. Back towards us again, this time off the cage. We had to give Randall an error on the drop on the foul ball. She was underneath it. And that did allow the inning to be extended. So that is officially the 3rd error of the game on the Gothic Knights. Wanted that one. Fouled in and out of the glove of Randall. Just a little too hard to hold on to as she shakes off her hand. Three errors in the first 2 innings have led to 5 runs. That's hit foul off to her left and over the Gothic Knight dugout. And NJCU in the third base dugout today. There's the Gothic Knights. And here is the 2-2 pitch by Vega. Hitting the air to left field. Here comes Squeo. Squeo on the line drive. Makes the catch, and the inning comes to an end. So Washburn hit that well, but Squeo covering her ground and left. And the inning does come to an end, and the second error does not come back to bite the Gothic Knights. Second inning for Cazenovia. 1 run on 2 hits. There was an error and 1 left on. We played an inning and a half. It is 5-0 Cazenovia here in Little River, South Carolina. Getting set. Softball action here. Game 1 of 8 on my first good start. We'll see if Talia is going to dig in. Ball, 2 strikes, and a miss. Garcia down on strikes, and that will bring up the second baseman, Brianna Rosario Jr. out of Roselle, New Jersey, Abraham Clark High School, a criminal justice major. She bats left-handed. Rosario looks at ball 1. Played basketball her first 2 years at NJCU. Chose not to play this year. Speaking to her yesterday, and she misses it, and will likely try to come back and play basketball again next year as a senior. That is high. It's 2-0. Not to call it strike. 2 balls and 1 strike. Fouled right towards me. It did not flinch. I promise you that. And the count is even at 2-2. Gothic Knight bench trying to cheer her on. Steps back in. The 2-ball, 2-strike count. It's outside, so count goes full. Five runs, 3 hits, no errors for Cazenovia, no runs, no hits, and 3 errors for the Gothic Knights. That is low. So the second walk of the game. Rosario goes down to first base. Now we'll bring up the right fielder, Melissa Mendoza. She's a sophomore, 5'4", out of Union City, New Jersey, a sociology major. Shows bunt right back towards me. Mendoza played 2 years ago for the Gothic Knights. Did not play last year, so did not exhaust the year of eligibility, and she is a sophomore athletically, a junior academically. 1 away here in the bottom of the second. Fouled back towards me again. I am a big target standing right behind home plate here. We're about 6 feet off the ground. Pretty good view, quite frankly. Better than I was expecting. Pretty good amenities here at the North Myrtle Beach Sports Complex. Great place to broadcast from. That's fouled off to our right. So Mendoza a little late yet again. Has now fouled off 3 pitches. See if this time she can catch up. Ground ball towards third. Throw across is wide of the bag. It's an error. And Rosario will round second, go to third. So that's an error on the third baseman, Clark. So with 1 away, can the Gothic Knights catch a break? Julie Squillo is the batter. The left fielder bats 8th in this game. Sophomore out of Carlstadt, New Jersey. Foul ball off to our left. Beckton Regional High School graduate. She's a history and secondary education major. Julie said her mom would be watching today's broadcast. I believe her dad is going to be on the trip. And Julie smiled twice so far in this trip. She thought that was notable and should be mentioned. She's got a serious look in her face now as that is low. And a hit here would get the Gothic Knights on the board. Swing and a miss, however, at that offering. And the count is 1-2. Mendoza reached on an error. She's at first. Rosario's at third. That's fouled off into the screen. And remains 1-2. One-two pitches outside. It's actually 3-2. 3-2 is the correct count. Swing and a miss by Squillo. That is strike 3. And with 2 away, that will bring up her first collegiate plate appearance. The third baseman, Gabriella Conte. 5'4" freshman out of Jersey City, New Jersey, St. Dominic Academy High School. She was an honorable mention All-County player a year ago. And bunted right back to the pitcher. The throw is high. And the Gothic Knights take advantage as Rosario scores. Conte is way off second base here trying to force another throw. Throwing error by Morgan allows the Gothic Knights to get an unearned run. Mendoza goes all the way to third on the error. Rosario scores. It's unearned, of course. And that will bring up Vega. So the Gothic Knights, after giving Cazenovia an edge with a couple of errors in the first inning, take advantage, and they get on the board without the courtesy of a hit. And now runners at second and third. The pitch to Vega is fouled off to our right. An outfield hit here by Vega would probably plate 2 runs. Fouled back towards me again, so it's 1-2. Can the Gothic Knights take advantage? 2 errors in this inning by the Wildcats. That is high. Good eye by Vega. Ground ball back to the pitcher. This time the throw is right on line to first. And the inning comes to a close. So a 1-3 ground out. Conte and Mendoza are stranded on base. 1 run, no hits, 2 errors in the inning, 2 left on. And we've played 2 innings here in our first game here in Little River, South Carolina. It's 5-1, Cazenovia leading NJCU. That's Hannah Gavin, the Gothic Knights shortstop. Head coach Veronica Grant, who was the top assistant last year. Talking with Lori McCluskey, Gothic Knight pitching coach. Cazenovia a year ago was 10-20 overall, but they were 7-13 in the NEAC. They actually won their last 3 games of the year. So the right fielder, Connor, will come to the plate here in the top of the 3rd inning. It'll be the 5, 6, and 7 hitters for the Wildcats. Connor a year ago batted .279. She played in 24 games with 20 starts at 17 hits with a homer and 7 RBIs, a .343 on-base percentage. Wind is starting to blow here. Pitch by Vega is high. It'll be Connor, Matkovic, and Scarcella due up here in the top of the 3rd for Cazenovia. That is high. So 2 balls and no strikes. Sun is now out in full force, but the temperatures have not risen. That's called strike, 2-1. Liner right towards second base, and Rosario's there to make the catch. So they'll bring up the catcher, Matkovic. In her first collegiate plate appearance, she popped out to Brittany Polikis at first base. That's inside. There's the Cazenovia dugout on the first base side. That's a called strike. So it's a 1-1. Matkovic digs in and looks at ball 2. Vega deals. That is low. And that's inside, ball 4. Third walk given up by Vega. She's also hit a batter. And that will bring up with 1 out the shortstop, Marissa Scarcella. Scarcella reached on a ball that was dropped in right field by Mendoza. Very catchable line drive towards right. That gets past Randall. So Matikovic down to second. Line drive towards left center. That's going to go all the way towards the gap. Matikovic rounds third. She's on her way home. It's a double for Scarcella and a 6-1 lead for Cazenovia. And we'll bring up the third baseman, Angelica Clark. Clark flew out to left on a line drive that ended the first inning. Runner at second is Scarcella. That's hit in the air towards left center, coming over, and unable to make the catch is Talia Garcia off her glove. Rounding third and scoring is Scarcella. It is a double for Clark. And a 7-1 lead. So a meeting at the mound. Gothic Knights find themselves in a 7-1 hole. That brings up the left fielder, Keller. Freshman grounded up 5-3 in her first plate appearance. That's inside for a ball, 1-0. 7 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors for Cazenovia, a run, no hits, 3 errors for NJCU. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Liner right at short, leaping and making the catch is Gavin. So Hannah Gavin feeling her position well. And that's the second out, and it brings up the top of the order for Rebecca Nicoletta. Nicoletta in today's game, 1 for 2, grounded out to third. She singled and scored in the second. And slapped towards first. Paulikis is there, steps right on the bag, and the inning comes to an end. So 3 unassisted at first, and the third inning comes to a close. Cazenovia scored twice. They had 2 hits, both were doubles, both towards left center, 1 left on base. We've played 2.5. Wildcats leading NJCU 7-1. the chopped foul. Gothic Knights, if they don't start getting some runs together, get some hits together, let's start there, are in danger of possibly being 8-run ruled here in the first game. They trail 7-1. They've committed 3 errors. They have not had a hit yet, and we're in the bottom of the third. Randall swings at that one, fouls it off to our right. And you know, it's a chilly morning when you start pulling the hoodie over your head. Oy vey. Here's the 0-2. Check swing. And home plate umpire Kenny Castleman said that Randall went around. So she strikes out swinging for the second time. And that will bring up the shortstop Hannah Gavin. Gavin walked in her first collegiate plate appearance in the first. Gavin was a 2-time first-team All-Burlington County player. Popped in the air, foul, coming over and giving it a look. But that's into the NJCU fans on the third base side. As we were saying, Gavin, a 2-time first-team All-Burlington County selection at Bordentown High School. She was a 3-time All-County selection, also making second team as a sophomore. Got a little bit of equipment malfunction here by the Cazenovia catcher, Matikovic. She's now ready. And 1 strike count with 1 out here in the bottom of the third inning. Gavin fouls that one off to our right. Neutral field game here. Obviously, all the games down here are on neutral fields. And the home team is decided by a coin toss literally minutes before the game is set to begin. What that means is a little bit of a scramble for me to get all the starters into the computer so we can have live stats. That's high, so it's 1-2. The 1-2 pitch is low. Good eye by Gavin. It's 2-2. Popped in the air. Middle of the infield. The shortstop comes over and drops the ball. And Gavin is safe as the shortstop Marissa Scarcella was underneath it, and just popped in and out of her glove. So Gavin will take it. She reaches base for the second straight time to start her career, once on a walk, once on an error. Third error on the Wildcats, and that will bring up Brittany Polikis, who popped out to second base to end the first inning. When you can't get a hit, which the Gothic Knights still have not been able to do, you'll take any break you can, and base runner here with 1 out. Polikis fouls it right back towards me. So it's no balls and 2 strikes. Hit in the air, shallow. Right now it's coming into second base and coming in making the catch is the second baseman for Cazenovia, Alex Kinnell. She had to work a little hard for that one. So the second time Polikis has flown out to second. That brings up Talia Garcia. Garcia shows Bunty, throw down to second. Not in time. Gavin with the stolen base, the first of her college career. And Garcia takes one right between the numbers in the back, so she draws a hit by pitch. And Rosario walked and scored the only run for the Gothic Knights in the second inning. That's a called strike. Try to move the camera a little bit here so you can see everyone. Rosario now on the left side of the box. Garcia at first. Gavin off second. Fortunately, with a one camera setup behind home plate, you can't see everything, but we'll try to give you a pretty good idea of what's going on. That's off the plate. 2-1. That's off the plate as well. So 3-1. Rosario very patient. If Rosario gets on base, Mendoza's behind her. Line on the ground, a one hop. Fielded well by the first baseman, Washburn. And Rosario hit that on the button, but couldn't find an opening. So 3 unassisted, and Garcia and Gavin are both stranded on base. Third inning for the Gothic Knights. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 2 left on. We head to the fourth. Cazenovia with a 7-1 advantage. Now we're back here for the top of the fourth inning, a 7-1 lead for the Wildcats. They have 5 hits, and it'll be the second baseman, Kinnell. She is the leadoff hitter, Alex Kinnell, freshman out of Mooresville, Pennsylvania. The number 2, 3, and 4 hitters are due up here for Cazenovia. 1 of 2 today for the Gothic Knights. The pitch is a called strike. That's a called strike, so it's 0-2. I've now changed my strategy. I was trying to figure out a way to stay warm here with the sweatshirt. I have another jacket on over that. I'm trying to figure out how I can have a hoodie and a broadcast headset on at the same time. The 0-2 pitch, that's popped weakly off to our left. Randall just ran out of time and was not able to get there to make the catch. So foul ball remains 0-2. So after fighting with the headset underneath the hoodie in the first part of this game, I've now relented. I've taken the headset off. I put the headset back on with it on top of the hoodie. So they got head, hoodie, headset. Picture that. That's how we're staying warm. Popped in the air. Here it comes Vega. She calls off. Conte makes the catch. So with one away, they'll bring up the designated player, Kelsey Shute. She's a sophomore at a Boston Spa in New York. 5'7" player. A year ago, Shute was the second leading hitter, and she's a top returning player. It appears for these Wildcats, played in all 30 games and had 39 hits and 102 at-bats. That is high. 9 doubles, 6 home runs, and led the team with 34 RBIs, a .417 on-base percentage. She was also a pretty good defensive player, 963 fielding percentage for the year. So a very dangerous player at the plate. She's also very patient and has now looked at 3 straight balls. She's tripled, she is singled, and she has driven in 2 runs. And now she draws a 4-pitch walk. So Washburn will come to the plate. Now the cleanup hitter, the freshman from Lee Center, New York, in her first plate appearance, lined out to left. Good play by Julie Squillo that ended the second inning. Washburn, of course, came in for Sprangler. Taylor Sprangler was injured trying to steal second base. That's high. So today, trying to stay warm. A warm up tomorrow, and then, I don't know, maybe we'll have shorts for the last day of the trip. The 1-0 pitch. That's in the air, foul. Not going to be enough room for Paulicus. It's going to be over the first base dugout. One ball, one strike. Vega deals. That's high. And this is one of those trips where you have to take a look at the weather. South Carolina at this time of the year, obviously going to be warmer than New Jersey, which is why they make these kind of trips, but nowhere near as warm as Florida. Slow roller. Rosario flips to second for 1. Oh. And the field umpire, Al Lewis, is saying that Rosario's throw pulled Gavin off of the bag, so everybody is safe on the fielder's choice. So I have to give a throwing error there on Rosario for allowing Shute to be safe. And there's runners at first and second. That brings up the right fielder, Connor, who was hit by pitch and lined out to second base. That's inside, so it's 2-0. So Rosario there with the fielder's choice, and the flip to second base pulled Gavin off of the bag. Otherwise, Shute would have been out on the fielder's choice. So instead, 1 out, runners at first and second. That is a called strike. It's 2-1. Well, it's actually 1-2. In the air to center. Garcia retreats. Underneath it, she makes the catch and walks it back in before firing to Gavin. So 2 away, and the catcher, Matakovic, will come to the plate. She popped to first and walked and later scored in the third. Which calls time, and it's granted by home plate umpire Kenny Castleman. Yesterday. It wants to go. Men's basketball for left side as a there. Fire for the shortstop in the third. Underneath it. We head to the bottom of the fourth. Tournament, only the second seed because they couldn't host the semis or the finals. Rutgers Newark was able to become the number one seed. They hosted yesterday Ithaca and actually led Ithaca by a 9-point margin with about 4 minutes left. Ithaca rallied the Bombers with a 9-0 run. They came back and beat Rutgers Newark 83-80. So it'll be NJCU men's basketball, the 2 seed, taking on Ithaca, the 4 seed, in the ECAC championship game. That is at 3 o'clock neutral court start in Newark at the Golden Dome. The Gothic Knights have already won a record 6 ECAC championships, but none since 2006. They will try to win for the first time under head coach Mark Brown, try for their 7th ECAC title, which of course would extend their own record. That's again a 3 o'clock game. The Gothic Knights with the win last night, 39-point win, was the largest margin of victory in 81 playoff games in the history of the program. Previous record was 33 back in 1981, so it had been a while. So it'll be Mendoza, Squio, and Conte here as NJCU bats in the 4th inning. Mendoza looks at a ball. She reached on an error in her lone plate appearance in the 2nd inning. That's off the plate as well. With that win yesterday, by the way, for the men's basketball team, they improved to 20-8 on the year. The 15th 20-win season in program history, the first in 10 years. That is ball 3. Men's volleyball yesterday with a pair of wins. They swept St. Joseph Brooklyn 3-0. That's a called strike, 3-1. And then they bounced back from an opening set loss to get a little bit of revenge over Mount St. Vincent, winning 3-1 after Mount St. Vincent beat NJCU at home on February 20th. Mendoza was able to lay off the inside pitch. She, on 5 pitches, heads down to first with the walk. Third time today, the Gothic Knights have drawn a walk, and now we'll bring up Julie Squio. Squio swings and misses at that high pitch. That's off the plate. Squee lays off. So men's volleyball now 12-12 on the year with that Skyline Conference sweep. Squeo hits in the air, shallow left, now over towards the line, and the left fielder Keller is able to squeeze it and make the catch. So 1 away, Gabby Conti comes to the plate. The third baseman reached on an error that helped extend the 2nd inning. That was when NJ scored its lone run. NJCU still trailing here 7-1. Swing and a miss. 7 runs, 6 hits, 3 errors for Cazenovia, 1 run, no hits, 4 errors for the Knights. That is a bunt. Dropped in front of home plate. The throw to first, not in time, and that gives the Gothic Knights their first hit of the game as Conti drops down the bunt single. Mendoza goes to second on the bunt, and that will bring up Vega, the Gothic Knight pitcher, at the top of the order. Vega's 0 for 2. She lined out to short and also grounded out 1-3. Both teams, NJCU and Cazenovia, both playing their 2016 season openers today. Imagine if NJCU can't get on the field. Not fare any better. That's low, so it's 2-0 to Vega. A little early at that pitch, a little foul tip into the glove. And it's 2-1. Swing and a miss. And the 80th pitch by Morgan. And the count is even at 2-2. That's high. Vega thought it was ball 4. Home plate umpire Kenny Castleman reminded her that was only ball 3. So she'll have to wait out another one if she hopes to draw a walk, which would load the bases. The 3-2 pitch. That's in the air, down the right field line, but it's going to be foul. And into the bullpen area for Cazenovia. So we'll do it again. 3-2. Conte, who had a bunt single, she's at first. Mendoza, who walks at second. And we are playing the bottom of the 4th inning here in Little River, South Carolina. You're watching Gothic Knights softball on NJCU, live on our YouTube channel. Ira Thor, NJCU Sports Information Director, with you for all the action here on the 2016 spring trip. Can Vega get on base and extend this inning a little bit and give the Gothic Knights a chance to draw a little closer? The 3-2 pitch hit foul off to my right. Between innings, we'll try to complex left and hand and right a little bit. Morgan's thrown 82 pitches. This is a 3-2. That is low, and Vega is able to wait out a 7-pitch walk. So the bases are loaded. Vega's at first. Conte, who had a bunt singles, at second. Mendoza is at third, and he'll bring up the catcher, Jazz Randall. She is struck out swinging twice. And that's lined towards right field, but right at the right fielder who makes the catch. The catch by Connor robs Randall of what would have been a run-scoring single. Vega was able to get back to first in time. So the bases remain full. Hannah Gavin comes to the plate. She walked and reached on an error. That is high. Well, Randall made contact, but right to Connor. That is off the plate, so it's 2-0. 7-1 Cazenovia leads here in the bottom of the 4th. About 20 or so Cazenovia fans are on the trip. They're sitting off to our right. Their team on top. Ground ball towards third. The throw home. The force will end the inning. So Clark, on 2 hops, was able to field that ball, throw home to Matakovic, who stepped on the plate, and the force was able to end the frame. The Gothic Knights leave the bases loaded. In the fourth inning for the Gothic Knights, no runs, 1 hit, 3 left on. We head to the fifth inning. It is a 7-1 lead for Cazenovia. I'm going to do our best here to show a little bit around the complex. We're a little bit in a closed area here. I'm going to try to duck and get out of the way. Nobody wants to see me. You can see off to our right over here one of the multiple fields here at the North Myrtle Beach Sports Complex, which is where we will be all week. All right, we've had a change for the Gothic Knights, and coming into pitch in the leadoff spot will be Christina Mezzi, two-time all-county pitcher for the Gothic Knights, about to make her debut. And the first pitch in Mezzi's career is a called strike. So Mezzi will face Clark, the third baseman. 1 for 2 with a double and an RBI in the third. Mezzi, the ace of this year's staff as a freshman. It's in the dirt. It's 2-1. She was a two-time first-team all-county player, as we just said a moment ago, where at St. Dominic Academy she formed a battery mate with current freshman Gothic Knight Gabriella Conte. So while she's starting to Randall right now, you would expect that in a number of Mezzi's starts that she and Conte will continue to team up. They also play travel ball together. That is high. So Clark was able to draw a 5-pitch walk, and the first batter that Mezzi has faced as a collegiate pitcher leads to a walk. So they'll bring up the left fielder, Jessica Keller. Keller is 0 for 2 today, grounded out to third, and she lined out to shortstop. Again, you're watching Gothic Knights softball here on NJCUGothicKnights.com. We're in the top of the fifth, Cazenovia with a 7-1 lead. That's popped up over my head. That's high. So 1 ball, 1 strike. Swing and a miss. And it's 1-2. That's called strike on the outside corner. So strike 3 looking. Keller's down, and that will bring up the center fielder, Nicolella. Nicolella, the leadoff hitter, is 1 for 3 today. Grounded out the junior out of Dwaynesburg, New York, left-handed hitter. Batted .269 last year, 14 hits. Played in 22 games with 19 starts. Mezzi deals. That's a called ball. That looked like it was pretty good to me, but it's 1-1. Mezzi deals again. This time it's a little low. So 3-1. That's a called strike. Actually, it's 2-1. Now it's a called strike, so it's 2-2. Take a final look at the line of Vega as we get a moment here. 2-2 pitch by Mezzi. Chopped towards third. Conte drops the ball. Conte looked towards second base, and that moment there allowed her to, she was unable to cleanly field the ball. So Clark goes to second, and they'll bring up the second baseman, Kinnell. Kinnell is 0 for 2 today with a walk and a run scored. Drops down a bunt. Mezzi throws to first. The sacrifice goes 1-3, but the runners move up to second and third. So a 1-3 sack bunt. And the designated player, Shoot, comes to the plate. She's reached base every time she stepped into the box. A triple that drove in a run in the first. An RBI single in the second, and a walk in the fourth. There are 2 outs here. A single would potentially give Cazenovia a decisive margin. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's fouled off to our right. Off the screen, and it remains in the field of play. So it's 1-2. Next game for the Gothic Knights is tentatively supposed to start at 1:30, but every game is contingent on the time that the previous games do end, as a number of these games are on the same field. That's high and outside, so it's 2-2. So the only guaranteed start times really are the first games of the day, and even today the game started about 9:25. Got going a little early. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hats hit in the air, shallow left. Squio makes the catch, and the inning comes to a close. So Julia Squio squeezes the ball between her glove. And Nicolella and Clark are both stranded at second and third. 5th inning for Cazenovia. No runs, no hits. There was an error, and 2 left on base. We head to the bottom of the 5th. It's 7-1 Wildcats. So bottom of the fifth inning, and it'll be Brittany Polikis, Talia Garcia, and Brianna Rosario. The 4, 5, and 6 hitters due up. And Polikis, who was popped out to second base twice, looks at ball one. Polikis actually did not fly with us on the trip. She drove down with her father, John. That's ground back towards the middle. Covering nicely is the shortstop, Scarcella, who makes a throw across the infield, and that's one away. Now we'll bring up Talia Garcia. Garcia struck out swinging and was hit by a pitch. Swing and a miss. That pitch was high. Off the plate, 1 ball and 1 strike. And that's on the inside corner, so 1 ball and 2 strikes to Garcia. Just saw that Peyton Manning, as probably was expected, has announced his retirement. That's high. I haven't been able to watch Peyton's entire career from when he came into the league in 1998 to now, as that's popped in the air. Calling everyone off and making the catch is Clark for 2 away. And I think football fans everywhere can safely say they will miss seeing Peyton Manning yelling Omaha for either the Colts or now the Broncos, and a fine career ending, one of the greatest in the history of NFL football, with Peyton Manning retiring today. Brianna Rosario walked and grounds it out on a sharply hit ball to first base. So she's 0 for 1. First pitch to her was in the dirt and rolled to the backstop. That's high, so Rosario showing some patience. Hit in the air, off to our left, it's going to drift foul. Swing and a miss, or helmet came off. Rosario is 20 years old, criminal justice major for the Gothic Knights. She lists her career objective after graduating. She'd like to actually go into the Air Force and has a long-term goal of becoming a New Jersey State Trooper. That is high. So count is full to Rosario. This will be the 100th pitch by Morgan. She's thrown 53 of 99 for strikes. And that is another strike. It is strike 3, and the inning comes to a close. Rosario is caught looking at a pitch on the outside corner. So the Gothic Knights go 1-2-3 in the 5th inning. We head to the 6th, and Cazenovia leading 7-1. Back here for the top of the 6th inning, and Christina Mezzi, who entered the game in relief the last frame, out for her 2nd career inning of work. Chemistry major. And the 2-time first-team All-Hudson County pitcher for the Gothic Knights, or pitcher at St. Dominic Academy, now for the Gothic Knights. Likely starter in our next game. She will face I'm sorry, 3 put out. Asking not for Jay, that's in the dirt. 4 innings. She allowed 7 runs. 4 were earned. 6 hits. She walked 4. Did not strike out a batter through 1 wild pitch. 25 batters faced. She threw 87 pitches. So 1 ball, 2 strike count here to Connor. Strike 3 looking. Mezzi looking sharp. Mezzi with her 2nd strikeout in her 2nd inning, and that'll bring up the catcher, Matakovic. Matakovic is 1 for 2 with a fall in front of Julie Squio, and it's the first hit allowed by Mezzi. So 2 away, runner at first, and the shortstop Scarcella will come to the plate. She is 1 for 3. Reached on an error, doubled and scored, also drove in a run, and she fouled out to the catcher, Randall. And in front of that pitch from Mezzi. So swing and a miss, strike 1. That was the 7th hit for Cazenovia to match their 7 runs. NJCU's 1 run, 1 hit. So 1-1. Here in the top of the 6th. Mezzi deals. Ground ball through the left side. That's a base hit. Squio's there, so she'll hold Scarcella to a single. But now runners at first and second for the 3rd baseman, Clark. He is 1 for 2 with a double and an RBI. She also walked in her last plate appearance in the 5th. It's 2 away. That's popped in the air. Randall comes back towards me, but it's over my head. After a brief conversation between Randall and Mezzi, here's the 0-1 pitch. That's high. Swing and a miss. And Mezzi is a striker. The 1-2. That's fouled off the end of the bat, and Clark stays alive. We'll do it again. The 1-2. And it's high. That is high for ball 3. So it's 3-2. Getting a little bit warmer now, probably in the mid-50s. Swing and a miss as Mezzi strikes out Clark. Her second strikeout of the inning, her third in her first 2 innings as a collegiate pitcher. And the Gothic Knights strand runners at first and second. So no runs, 2 hits. There were 2 left on. Gothic Knights with just 1 hit. Would like to see those bats warm up now as the weather is, with just 6 outs to work with. While it's a little cooler here than we expected it would be, it will be nice and warm as the Gothic Knight baseball team heads to the Caribbean this week. They will play 6 games in 2 cities in Puerto Rico. All right, so some lineup changes here as we have a new pitcher, and it will be Samantha Washburn. She'll make her first career appearance in the circle as she moves from first base to the mound, and the designated player Shoot will move from DP to first base, and Morgan is now out of the game. And Mendocante are the batters due up for the Gothic Knights. So as you were saying, the baseball team will head to Puerto Rico. On Tuesday, they will play 6 games down in the Caribbean. It'll be the first time the baseball team has ever made that trip. Play 2 games against Messiah, 2 games against Oneonta State. With single games against Arcadia and SUNY Canton. Canton is actually the host team for this tournament, which is the Clemente Cup. And my assistant, Tom Rayfield, is the lucky fella who will make that trip. And Tom will bring you the live stats for those games. They'll be available at NJCUGothicKnights.com. I think Tom is watching this game here, so hello, Mr. Rayfield. And Ms. Mendoza will step to the plate with the Gothic Knights trailing 7-1 here in the bottom of the 6th. Mendoza, as she looks at ball 1, is 1 for 2. Correction, 0 for 1. 0 for 1. She drew a walk in the 4th and was later thrown out at the plate on a force to end the inning. So after a called strike, 1 ball, 1 strike. Washburn now the pitcher. Out. For it. Funny, I am the one to be a little chill. Used to these winners. To Cole. She was a 4-year star at Syracuse University, which is just up the road from Cazenovia College. One of the great players in Syracuse history. So she knows warm weather in Southern California and cold weather in some of the classic winters of Central New York. Julie Smiling Squio steps to the plate, and her first offering, she fouls that back towards us for strike 1. Squio is struck out and flew left in the 4th, and she foul tips this one. So no balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss at a pitch in the dirt. The throw down the first. Completes the 2-3. So a KS 2-3. And that will bring up the third baseman, Conti, who is 1 for 2. She has NJCU's only hit. It was a Conte showed bunt and squared the bat back and fouls it into the screen. The 0-1. Line drive towards center field, and that's going to die at the end of the infield, but not before she has her second hit of the day. She has both Gothic Knight hits. The first one was a bunt. This one was a legit one off the end of the bat as it splits the middle infielders. So a single up the middle, 2 away, and Christina Mezzi will make her first collegiate plate appearance. Mezzi, the right-handed hitter. Mezzi, chemistry major, as we said. She's a Jersey City resident, went to St. Dominic Academy, stands 5'5". Swing and a miss at that pitch off the plate. And it's 0-2. 2. 1 run. Try to adjust the camera. Try to get a little bit. No ball. To the left of third base. 5. Faces the 0-2. Line drive towards center field. That is a base hit. And it's going to roll all the way to the wall. Conte around second to third. She's going to be waved home by Coach Grant. The throw to third, Mezzi, is safe with a triple. And her hit as she gives her high school teammate Conte a big high five to Coach Veronica Grant. You can tell she's excited. She worked for that one. She fouled off 4 pitches to stay alive. To right center, an RBI. Conte scores, and it's 7-2. And trip to the plate, step away. Good eye. Camera. Mezzi. Randall have to look. Randall, the other senior captain for the women's basketball team. Johnson, a 3-year captain, will graduate as the program's all-time leader in three-point baskets with 114, breaking a 14-year-old record this year. She also had a single-season record. That's off the plate. You got Randall. You got Johnson. Two balls and 1 strike. The pitch by Washburn. Swing and a miss. It's going to roll away from the catcher. However, not far enough for Johnson to be able to run down the line, as Medikovic is quickly able to get to that ball. So 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bottom of the 6th, and that's high. So Randall draws the walk. So now Randall at first, Johnson at third, runners on the corners for Hannah Gavin. Gavin reached on a walk in the first third. She reached on a fielder. Pitch to Gavin. Swing and a miss. And it's 0-2 live on our YouTube channel. Streaming live from Little River, South Carolina. We are in the bottom of the 6th inning, game 1. Pitch to Gavin. Right back to the mound. Washburn, the throw to first. And the inning comes to a close. So the 1-3. Randall and Johnson are left on base. The Gothic Knights do get a run back. And 2 hits, their first 2 clean hits of the game, as Conte with the single at the middle later scoring on the triple by Mezzi. But after 6 innings, the Knights still trail by 5. It is 7-2. Freshman out of Dryden, New York. Camera back. That's low, so it's 2-1. One of the number freshmen in the lineup for fouled off of the eight in her. You got the Knights. Start game 2. With a 5. Volley softball. As Kristen Fuller, she's a sophomore from Truxton, New York, will come in for Pate defensively in left field. The Gothic Knights have 3 outs to work with. They trail by 5. After this game, the Knights have a tentative 1:30 start with Madai. We'll try to keep you updated as to what that actual game time will be in the event that it does not start at 1:30. It will be back here in this same field. We are on field 2 as the camera drifts towards the sky. I gotta love when the camera does that all off. Lori McCluskey. And that's an 8 to right. To bottom of the 7th, the pitch 4-year pitcher for the baseball freshman year. By Rosario. Knights alive is turn